But when I lived with the Moken grandmother, I think that really helped, and she introduced me to a lot of people in community and taught me so much. And actually, she just passed away this month, and her name is Patan, and she has the beautiful voice, and she sings throughout the film, and it's really sad.
Okay, well, that's really great that you got into, because I know how difficult it can be. I guess my next question would be your process. I mean, this translates back sort of both in the ethnographic side and the experimental side, because one of the things I loved about this film is that you really do capture some of the key things that are important to every culture: life, death, birth, the future, and you both capture it wonderfully with spoken word, with people speaking about these things that are important to them, but also visually. So in your process, was this sort of did you have an idea going in when speaking with them, spending time with the grandmother, as to that you wanted to tackle these specific elements of their culture, or was it you start shooting images and sort of having an idea of what kind of things you wanted to ask to sort of tie back into those images that you were taking?
No, I mean, I just went over and shot whatever I saw. I wasn't,
Okay.
I don't set anything up. I shoot everything that's naturally occurring, right? But I did know what I wanted to ask, and it's a completely oral tradition. So the thing is that every story I had read had changed and shifted, and no one knew about, So, and also I would hear one story on one island and go to another island, and they had no idea what I was talking about.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I interviewed as many people as I could, and all different ages, from all different islands, and I just gathered as many stories as I could.
Yeah, well, storytelling is obviously very, very important to every culture, and it works extremely well here, especially in terms of this idea of mythology, which you blend so well, because you have a lot of images that are also just very straightforward, representing culture, but also very sequences of sort of fantastical imagery or dreamlike imagery that sort of weaves in that sort of notion of mythology, which is obviously very important to this culture. Essentially saved them, I guess, from the tsunami. So
Yeah, true.
Very important. When deciding when you headed over, I mean, how did you decide what to bring with you in terms of equipment and cameras? Because I'm sure you probably had some idea you were going to be shooting some water scenes and.
Yeah, well, Sandy had just eaten all of my equipment.
Oh, okay.
Right prior
Hurricane
to this.
Sandy?
Yeah, so I got all new gear.
Ooh, okay.
I knew I wanted to use this underwater Super 8 camera. It's called a U Magnatica, and it's an Austrian-made camera from the 70s.
Wow.
It comes with a built-in housing, but I think it looks cool. I mean, that's all the Super 8 stuff you see. I think it looks cool on land too. And then a GoPro made the most sense too, because I could strap it to the spears and to people. And then I went with a Canon. I like the way that Canons look.
They pick up really good color.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say was your biggest challenge in the filmmaking process?
Underwater shooting
was the biggest.
Yeah, it's terrifying. I mean, I get panic attacks every time I do it, to be honest.
Oh, wow.
But I did it.
Well, we're glad you survived.
Here I am. I would have come in, my heart was about to explode out of my chest every time, but it was good.
Now, have you shown this film to the Moken that you spent time with? Or?
No, that's what I want to do next. So,
Okay.
yeah, I'm working towards getting over there. I also I had someone from the Burmese government at a screening in Canada, and so working on getting me over there, and then from there I would just go to Thailand.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure they'd love to see it. I'm sure they're dying to see it. All right, well, I'd love to hear some of your guys' questions. I'm sure Olivia would as well. So if anyone has any questions, shoot a hand up. Yes.
How much did you know about the Moken before you made the movie?
I mean, just I read as much as I could online or in books. There's one anthropologist who's been working with them for over 20 years, and that's all I knew. And then I had never been to Thailand or Myanmar prior to this, so everything was new.
How did you decide to film Moken then? How did you learn about them?
I read about them after the Indian Ocean tsunami of 2004, and I was blown away because they all survived. And then I continued to read about them throughout their years, and I saw that their population was on a decline. It was pretty drastic how many they had lost since then. And so I wanted to go over and make a film that preserved their culture.
Yes.
So the translators that you utilized, how did they learn English?
That's a good question.
Well, I used a lot of different translators. So in the field, sometimes I would have a Moken speaker that was going to a regional Thai language, like Southern Thai. And then I would have someone who did Southern Thai to Thai, and then someone from Thai to English. A lot of times in the field, I didn't get exact translations. And then it was afterwards. I worked with a lot of people in post to translate as well.
Any other questions? Yes, right here in front.
This is a little bit like a chicken and egg question, but I'm very curious because it looks like the ideas of filmmaking and of anthropology are very closely woven within you. And so I'm kind of curious, were you more interested in anthropology, which led you to film? Or would you consider yourself like your life path? Have you been more of a filmmaker who has gotten into anthropology? Does it?
I've always been into anthropology. Everything I've ever read has been like an anthropological book my whole life. So that was always there. But then I got into still photography, and through still photography, I got into making moving imagery.
Yeah, you should mention you have done several other films.
Oh yeah,
that
this
do
is
capture-
my third feature.
So look them up. Yeah, any other questions? Yes, middle.
How did you get used to underwater filmmaking? Not just your anxiety about it, but the techniques, if this was the first time you were doing underwater filmmaking?
Oh, I just practiced in a pool before I went. I don't know. I mean, I was just trying not to touch coral and shoot things, and then also there was someone else that came over halfway through and shot underwater with me as well, Kevin. So, yeah, we tag teamed that. But.
Wow. Yes, in the back.
Since it looks really natural and spontaneous to me, I'm wondering, did you watch what people were doing and then decide to shoot, or did you ask people to do certain things and then shoot?
I don't ever ask anybody to do anything. I just observe what people are doing and shoot what they're doing.
Yeah, that's actually one of the hallmarks of ethnographic film. You don't want to try to set up the culture you're filming to do stuff for the camera. You're supposed to be sort of blending into as much as you can into the culture and letting what appears in front of the camera happen.
Yeah, I got that and it looked like that, and I was wondering whether what I was seeing was what actually happened.
I mean, I don't know if you saw what I saw, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I captured what I was seeing, but I hope it translated to what I was seeing as well. I think it's the same, right?
Yeah, I think so. Did you have a specific scene in mind, or?
Yeah, well, like when people were in the water and when the young man went in the water with the spear.
Okay, well, I mean, he was
It was really powerful for me to watch, and so I was wondering, and the answer you gave was that you watched what people were doing and just shot.
Right, I mean, so I knew he was going spearfishing. So in that scene, for instance, I was like, okay, let's put a camera on the spear, and I knew he was going to do that. And so, I mean, I had to set it up in that way, but he was naturally doing that.
All right. Yes, right. Right there in the edge, right there. Thank you. No, one back. Sorry. You can go now.
They are nomadic people, but they seem to have established houses and communities. Has that shifted? Have they changed that way of life?
Oh yeah, that's a part of the shift that's happening. So what I didn't go into was that, the governments have come in and said, you can only live here and you can only fish this time of year, and you have to sell the fish to us for a fourth of the market rate. And there's only several people that are still living nomadically. And you got to see some of them, and it took me forever to find them. 4 months to find them.
Wow.
I was like,
that's
where are they?
dedication. Yeah, let's get some more questions. Yeah.
I was surprised since it kind of said they didn't like civilization, or they kind of stayed away from that they had things like dolls and nice with nail polish and other stuff, and I was like, they had to go out there to get these things. So I was curious about that aspect because I didn't see anything regarding that.
Yeah, so they have a little shack that sells things on every island, and I mean they're trading, or sometimes there's trips to and from the mainland. Even if the furthest island out in Thailand, it's an 8-hour ride in their boats to the mainland. But yeah, they'll go and get stuff like TVs. You know, they watch. That's what I think is really cool. I don't know, the Bollywood DVDs are coming from somewhere. But I mean, it's a really interesting influence on their culture. You know, how is that shifting? How is what they're watching on TV shifting what they're doing? You know, maybe they see the makeup in Bollywood and they said, let's put that on, right?
But did they say, I'm sorry, as a follow-up, did they say they didn't like going out into, I mean, did they prefer just a kind of, I mean, people that prefer staying away from civilization are just like water people, or they don't engage in playing with things as much as enjoying the outdoors and other things. So I saw a different aspect there, I thought.
Yeah, so the younger I mean, I think the voice that you heard and the voice that said it is an older gentleman, and that's the way that it is traditionally. And then there's a huge shift right now happening, and the younger generations don't even know their own language, you know, and they are more interested in other things. And you saw, like, in the ceremonies, it was all older people. There was only one young guy that was partaking. And he's actually he's the youngest guy that still spearfishes. You know, so there's a major shift going on. The whole culture is going to be lost really soon.
Yes, the man in the shirt right
So
there.
then what do the young people do?
Um,
They're still living amongst the elders, but they don't fish, and they just sit around, they watch TV?
yeah, they watch TV, they go to school. I don't know. They just hang out.
Facebook.
No, there's no
No,
Facebook.
no, I'm just-
There's one Moken on Facebook, but
Oh, really?
he goes to the mainland a lot. He's my friend.
Yes, the woman right there.
Now they're not allowed to do the spearfishing anymore?
So they're allowed to fish, but certain times of year. The government is controlling when they do it. And actually, a lot of Moken are making their money right now dynamite fishing for Burma. So like Burmese fishermen, they use dynamite, which I feel like is cheating. Anyway, yeah, so they'll pay the Moken to dive down and plant the dynamite for them. And it's killing a lot of them too, that.
Well, why can't they fish when they want to?
I don't know. We need to ask the Thai government that. And actually, too, the government says, okay, you have to stay on these islands, and then, you know, a tourist can come, and it's like they're in a living zoo. It's really sad.
Wow.
You know how many there were before they reached less than the 3,000 that they started?
I don't know, but I should look at that.
And you go, yes, right down here.
I have two questions. One was, what surprised you the most when you were there? Because I'm gathering that you were there for a course of several months. What surprised you the most being there? And then my second question is, how did they respond to the camera? Did it kind of become invisible after a while because they were so used to it? Sorry.
Yeah, okay, the camera, yeah, I feel like it was always invisible to them. I don't know, I mean,
Well, the GoPro
I'm-
probably, yeah.
but I'm really low impact. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. People don't seem, when I'm shooting, like, I haven't found that people are really uncomfortable. You know, that's how I go. This is the third community I've spent a lot of time with. And people seem to be really comfortable. But I'm using really small cameras, too, you know. That, and what surprised me the most. I guess I didn't realize how much the culture was shifting. I was surprised to see that only the older generations are preserving these traditions that you see. You know, it was really sad for me. And it was sad to see that on the mainland there's some Moken that are having to go to school to learn their own language. Anyway, it happened really swiftly, I feel like, because it's just been 10 years. So.
Yes, gentlemen, all the way in the back. Yep.
You mentioned how folklore changes from island to island. How interactive are the Moken between each other in the islands? Are they?
Yeah, they're really interactive. Even people from Burma will come over and marry someone on a Thai island. They travel around a lot. Like, also, let's say someone gets really sick and they know of a witch doctor on another island. They'll commute really far for stuff like that. And then for the big ceremonies, like the Labong ceremony, people travel. because there'll be one island that has the biggest ceremony.
Okay, let's get 2 more questions. Yes, gentleman right here. Yep.
How would you compare the ceremonies that you filmed in Ethiopia and Haiti to the one that we saw in this film?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of similarities. Did you notice like the?
So you should probably say that
Oh,
these
sorry.
are your other films. Have been
Oh
shot.
yeah, my first film was in Ethiopia, and I lived with 13 different tribes. And then my second film was in Haiti, and I went on 2 religious pilgrimages for a male and female deity that are married in the Voodoo pantheon. And how are they similar? I just think there's a lot of similarities. Like the possession is really similar. The anointing, the use of alcohol only when spirits are around. Yeah, I was actually, a lot of it reminded me of Haiti.
Interesting. Okay, last question. Okay. Looks like we got a. No. Okay. Yes, man with the hat.
Yeah, I was just wondering, you said that a lot of them died, like they had a dramatic death rate after. Do you know why?
Yeah, I think I think the governments got involved. They were like, oh, we have this really fascinating community the rest of the world is interested in. We're going to put them on display. We're going to tell them when they can fish and when they can't fish. We're going to make them sell their fish to us at a lower market rate. Then there's NGOs like, we need to go save them. We need to go convert them. And then they don't have a way to make money, so they go start dynamite fishing for commercial fishermen. You know? Oh, and then because they're having to travel for work, men are, sleeping around, and there's AIDS and stuff coming into the community now too. It's really tragic.
Wow. Right. Well, I'd like to thank Olivia for
Thank
being
you guys
here.
for coming.